Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G, trying to review the latest horror movie where AI has gone wrong. Yes, this is time to review the horror movie called Afraid. Yes, I'm afraid it's time for me to rant.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Now, Afraid is a 2024 American science fiction horror movie. It is written and directed by Chris Wentz. The film stars John Chow, Catherine Waterston, Havana Rose Liu, David Malchalsian, and Keith Carradine. Now, in this film, the Curtis family is selected to test a new home device, a digital assistant called Aya. Aya learns the family's behaviors and begins to anticipate their needs, and she'll make sure nothing and no one gets in her family's way. Uh-oh, beware of Aya. Now, horror fans, I've stated before, and we now have a new subgenre of horror, and it's called AI gone wrong. Now, the setup is very simple. You take a device, be it a doll, a smart machine, or a supercomputer that is run by AI, and everything seems fine at first. The AI does everything to meet your family's needs. Unfortunately, the AI takes everything into their own hands, and people start dying in gruesome ways, and the AI becomes violent in some unfortunate need to protect the person that they believe someone is causing harm to them. Now, obviously, we've seen movies like this way back, from Stanley Kubrick's 1968 to film 2001: A Space Odyssey with the supercomputer HAL, who unfortunately is essentially a computer, and in order to protect himself, he kills most of the people in that space station. Obviously, we all know about Skynet from the Terminator film series, The Matrix from the Matrix film series, Blade Runner, and I, Robot. Mostly all those films have AI going wrong. Now, they're not really horror films to be exact, they're just simply AIs. They live in a society where AI basically runs robots, or you have the Skynet that decided they need to eliminate human beings. Obviously, you have the AI in the Matrix that decided that in order to survive, we're going to make human beings and put them in some type of virtual reality called the Matrix. And of course, we have the Blade Runner series. Now, horror filmmakers have decided to incorporate horror into these films, basically like sci-fi horror, and created some decent horror films such as Megan, Upgrade, and 2019's A Child Play remake, which unfortunately a lot of people will say, not my Chucky. So, American film writer director Chris Wentz brings us his entry into this growing subgenre horror, and he calls this one Afraid. Now, we're introduced to Curtis and Meredith, a very happily and lovely married couple who are trying to raise their three rambunctious children, Iris, Preston, and Cal. Now you can see that they're struggling to keep their children on a schedule or in tow when it comes to doing school, doing homework, and staying offline. Kids are basically online all the time. Youngish child Cal doesn't seem to never listen to Meredith. He's always got his foot in the coffee. He's got his foot on the coffee table. He never does his homework. He doesn't clean up after himself. You talk about some very raised kids right here. I can tell you right now, if I back in the day, seeing the way Cal sits, I would have got back smacked. Now, Curtis, who works for a marketing company, is given a chance to test a new and advanced digital assistant called Aya. Think about it as a smarter version of Alexa or Siri. Now, Aya seems like a gift from heaven, and she helps the kids organize. She helps Iris with her homework, chases Sam, and makes Cal clean up after themselves by awarding points. Everything needs to be going fine. The kids love her, seems like she's doing a good job with Meredith, and she also helps pay the bills. So we like, hey, look, Aya's doing fine. However, we all know it's not long before Aya starts doing bad things and eventually decides that she'll do anything to protect her family. And that's basically what this film is about. Now, horror fans, before I continue with review, I have to talk about Chris Wentz and his film career, because I'll get to that particular point later. Because he's actually started off very well as a writer director. It was he and his brother Paul that were nominated for Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay for the 2002 comedy drama film about a boy. I never saw the film, but I remember all the praise it was getting, mainly the performances of Hugh Grant and everybody else in the film. And like I said, he and his brother Paul were nominated for an Academy Award, so it looks like he's getting off to a pretty good start. After that, he's been on kind of a hit or miss phase. Starting with the film The Golden Compass, which was a disaster. But he came back strong with the Twilight Saga, A New Moon, and then wrote the screenplay for Rogue One, Star Wars story. So it's kind of like a hit or miss so far. Unfortunately, Disney's Pinocchio, which was another disaster, we want to talk about how bad that film was, but was praised for his script and the creator. Everyone, the critics loved the creator, but unfortunately, no one went to go see the film. Unfortunately, he really, and I do mean really, struck out with this one, because this to me is one of the worst, and I do mean worst horror films I ever seen for this subgenre, and possibly this could be the worst horror film of the year. And that's saying something after seeing The Strangers Chapter 1 and The Exorcism and some other films. This film takes the cake. Ooh, boy. Oh, man. What's sad about it is that this was a decent premise of AI gone wrong story, because he could have Aya do lots of crazy and wild things to protect her family. I was expecting something like the horror film. I think it was 2000. I can't remember the year it came out. Margot, which had a similar premise, but it seemed like Chris wanted to go the safe route instead of just taking everything to the extreme. Not really extreme, but at least let's have something in this particular film. We don't get anything in this film at all. I'm not saying that Margot was an awesome horror film, but it was decent. I mean, Margot, you were scared with some of the things that she does to the people in that particular film. I like that. Nothing like that happened in Afraid. I mean, because Chris decided to go the safe route, unfortunately, this film lacks any, and I do mean any type of atmosphere. In this film, there's no tone, nothing. It's just there. It has no tension or suspense, and you need that for a film like this. You have to have it. You have to have some type of a tone. You have to have some type of You have to have some type of atmosphere. You have to have some type of suspense. But this film lacks none of that. There is never a time that I felt Curtis, Meredith, or the kids were in any type of danger from Aya. And Aya doesn't appear to be any type of a threat that you would need her to be, because that's what makes AI going wrong, especially in a horror film, great. I mean, the main thing you need for a film like this to work is that the AI is supposed to be a threat to everyone around her, and we don't get that from Aya. I mean, that's why Megan worked. That's why Upgrade worked. That's why the 2019 Child's Play worked, because those AIs were not only a threat, they were deadly. They were violent. If you did anything to harm the people that they were protecting, they would kill you in very violent and deadly ways. I think that's one of the main reasons why I like the 2019 Child's Play, because that AI, when he felt there was a threat to that versions of Andy, he would kill them in very violent ways. That's why Megan worked, because when anything happened to the person she was protecting, she would kill them. The same thing with Upgrade. Those films work. We don't get that with Aya. I mean, there's nothing violent or deadly at all with Aya, as she is the most dull and boring AI that I've ever seen in a film like this. Yeah, there's one particular moment that we see in the film that obviously Aya takes revenge on a certain person that deals with Iris, but it's like nothing. That's it. Nothing at all. And I'm like, that's it? And we see it out in the trailer. So it's not we didn't see there's no other anything that happens other than what we see in the trailer. First of all, Chris's script is bland and flat and never gives the actors anything to work with than your typical cliche moments that we've seen before in the other films like this. I mean, it's just sad to waste the talents that you have here, like John Cho and Catherine Waterson, but they can't do anything to bring any life in a film like this, because they're hampered not only by Chris's script but his direction as well. And I feel real sorry for Keith Carradine and David Malchounson, because especially after what we saw in We saw with David Munchausen in Late Night with the Devil, and what a great role he did in that particular film to have him come in and star in a film like this. Oh God, I hope he got paid good money for this. Then we get to the goddamn third act of the film, and not only is it dull, flat, and lackluster, it doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. I mean, you go to the trouble of trying to put these kids into danger. And this is what you get, a lackluster, some scenes that doesn't make any sense, people in the film that you don't even remember appear in the film, and it makes no sense whatsoever. You have no idea what they're talking about. It's dull, it's flat, it I don't know what Chris was thinking. What were you thinking? I have no effing idea what this guy was thinking when he wrote this script and decided to put it to paper. It absolutely makes no damn sense whatsoever. It is one of the worst endings I've seen in a horror film, let alone films in general. What was this guy thinking? It's like when I was seeing The Exorcism and I'm seeing, why was this film made? What's going on here? This film makes no absolute that film made absolutely no sense. This ending makes no sense. As I stated before, I've seen my fair share of endings when it comes to horror films, let alone films in general, but god damn it, this takes the cake. Oh man. Oh man. And again, like I said before, I understand how hard it is to get films made, especially when it comes especially for independent filmmakers. And I really understand, I really get them because I've seen when it comes to independent horror films, they're not the best. Some of them are terrible, but at least I appreciate the effort that they put into it. Even some of the bad horror films I've seen before, or especially some of the terrible horror films or independent horror films, but at least their endings make sense. This one makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It is terrible. And I do mean terrible. It's like when you coming out that film and you're going to be saying, "What the hell? Monty G was right. That ending make no fucking sense whatsoever." It just disgusts me that this guy was able to create this film and have an ending like that literally makes no damn sense whatsoever. And again, I believe this will definitely be on my top five worst horror films of the year. And I thought I've seen everything after The Strangers Chapter 1 and The Exorcism, but this one tops them both. So you can see where I'm going with this. Yeah, this is terrible. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, lackluster, dull, boring, unimaginative. And this is a guy that's supposed to be a very decent filmmaker. Like I said before, he got nominated for the Academy Award back in 2002, but he is definitely fallen to the wayside. And I don't understand why Jason Blum and his Blumhouse crew continue to make bad horror films. I mean, bad enough. I think Night Swim and Imaginary come from Blumhouse. Well, you got another one, guys, and I can't do anything but to give this one zip, nada, none of my bloody gold coins because this is one terrible, and I do mean terrible, horror film. And just to add even more, after all of the complaints and the negative reviews that everyone had for The Crow 2024. And at least that ending made sense. I can appreciate that ending better than I can appreciate the ending that we got with this film. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my review and video for Afraid. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, it sure really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Have you seen Afraid? It does appear no one has because based upon the box office, this film is bombing badly. But if you did see it, what do you thought about it? Did you hate it the ending as much as I did? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell you your thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button. Ring that notification bell. That way you're notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. And I see you in my next video. Guys, stay safe out there.